Decided to show a few more videos on the Dohnanyi exercises. I'm not going to do every exercise. I actually do not believe that every exercise in the book is super useful to everyone. There is something for everyone in the book, and I'm going to be going over number 3. I have a couple other videos already on numbers 1 and 2, and even on number 12. I kind of skipped forward a little bit. So let's get started with the third exercise. This is a trill exercise, but it's also an exercise to help finger control by holding down one finger while you're trilling with other fingers. This does occur in real music, so it's not just something that is just being given just as some weird arbitrary exercise. So number 3 starts with you starting with a third with fingers 1 and 3 with the right hand. Now I'm not going to be doing both hands together. Especially if you're just beginning this, always do one hand at a time. So it starts here, and the bottom 2 notes are going to be trilling. Now watch my arm and my wrist. I'm going to do a lot of wrist rotation even though I'm holding down a note. We don't want to get into the habit of letting our fingers be little car pistons going. If we do this, you're just asking for a little bit of trouble here, because that can cause some discomfort in your hand and your wrist, and possibly issues later on, especially if you do practice a lot. So watch my hand as I'm doing this. And if you don't have a copy of the music, you can get it on imslp.org. It is public domain in some countries and not in some countries. And I'll put a link to that in the comments. So we're switching fingers on the top here. Now, after that measure, there's nothing wrong with stopping, giving yourself a second, figure out what's happening next, and then move on. Now there's a repeat there. You can repeat it, you don't have to repeat it. I'm going to move on to the next part. The difference here on the next measure is that it just quickens the change. So it changes from 6 notes per beat to 4 notes per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going straight into it this time if you can. You don't have to. Now triplets. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now a little bit different, going back to 16th notes. I'm going to slow it down so you can see this. Then just ends on this. Now you can do all the repeats. Don't worry about tempo too much. It's really all about learning to use your hand and use your arm in the most healthy way possible. Not about getting speed, and not about just getting speed right now. That will come later, and technique is always going to be more important. I'll show left hand now. It's the same thing. I'm going to go very slowly, but I'm just going to kind of go through the whole thing just straight through. Now it switches to the top notes. I would suggest don't use a metronome on this. There is no need. It's not about speed again. It's not even about rhythm. Now the hard one, if you're left-handed, I'm going to stop here for a second. You might find this easier, but you still might find it harder. One of the reasons you might find the left hands harder, even if you're left-handed, is the fact that your right hand, up to now, has done more of the kind of melodic line work and more and less of the chordal work, where so it's more likely to have done this kind of thing. It's really good to get both hands comfortable with every type of music, movement, whatever it might be. Now, if you want to go to hands together, you absolutely can. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Now, again, don't try to go too fast. Like, just keep it slow. And just take your time. Take your time on everything, no matter what their rhythm feels like. Some of these old exercises are great, but then you have to also remember that there is no requirement of speed. There's no requirement of performance in an exercise. Just make sure you're doing it right, playing the right notes, and you are doing it comfortably, making sure that your arms and wrists and shoulders stay relaxed. If you have any questions about this one, let me know. I'll be doing numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7 within the next month. I hope you liked that tutorial. If you would like to hear anything else, see anything else, please let me know. And thanks so much for watching.